What's up, my friends? Todd Falcone here for a day. I don't know what day today is. Wednesday, Thursday, a day that ends in Y. I guess that's all I know. It doesn't matter. But so I wanted to pop on here. I actually did a live recently, actually just a few minutes ago on Instagram, and I wanted to make sure I cover all of my angles, I guess. So a couple days ago, I had a conversation with a friend of mine who has been involved in the network marketing space for I don't know, probably 30 years. I met him back in 90, I don't know, early 90s, probably 92. And so he's been in the business for a very, very long period of time. And we're just having a catch up session, kind of discussing business, how business is and so on. And the subject came up, around like where checks are currently across the board in the network marketing space. And I wanted to, I know that there have been, I don't know if Eric Worre covered this or not. He may have. Pretty confident. I remember Rob Sperry talking on a live or some video about this, or maybe in one of his groups. But I'm pretty confident that not everyone is aware. And I wanted to just have a discussion with you guys so you can figure out how to address something that probably needs to be addressed with different individuals in your group. So I'm going to try to do this in a way where I don't mention specific experiences, for lack of a better term. So if we can all recall that at the end of 2019, as we moved into 2020, there was this weird thing that the world experienced all over the place. And we were all sent home, or I was already at home, but people were sent home, and you know what I'm talking about. So during that time, and this message is really for people that were involved in an existing business, leading into and through 2019, and are currently still in that same business. That's who this group is for. If you change companies, it's probably not as relevant. But if you were, 16, 17, 18, 19 through now, still in the same company, here's likely what you experienced through the tail end of 2020, through 2021, and even into 22, is you saw likely an increase in volume and an increase in checks pretty much across the board. I've had many conversations with individuals where the increases were 40, 50%, sometimes 100% increases over where they were prior to the tail end of 2019. And so during that time frame, of course, everybody's like super stoked and happy. It's like, oh my gosh, check business is booming, checks are zooming, everything's great. And then now what's interesting is pretty much across the board, and I'm not going to give any exact percentages, or I don't have statistics, but I just know this because I know from lots and lots of conversations with people. Everybody, for the most part, that was in an established company where they had an existing organization leading into that experience that we all had for a couple of years, saw a pretty dramatic increase in their checks during that time frame. Now, why is that? Well, I mean, I can tell you that in mid-March is when everything kind of stopped in the United States. There was within a matter of like 2 weeks, like before the end of March, I was starting to get phone calls left and right of people like, "Hey, dude, I need to get back involved in network marketing. Hey, man," and these are people I've worked with years and years ago, who went on to do other businesses, other companies, run other things, and their businesses were shut down. So that they were, looking to our profession as a viable solution to a pretty big problem at the time, right? And, we were kind of one of the very few viable solutions where you could, plug and play, plug into a business, a pre-existing business, where you don't have to start from scratch. You can come in and you can work from the safety of your home, if you will, and go out and build a business. And so we saw a pretty massive influx of people that were either network marketers from the past that came back in, or just new people that discovered it. And so there was an increase in volume during that time frame. And as a result of an increase in volume, most people's checks increased. But, at the end of that, when things went back to whatever normal, I don't know if that's even the right word, but things went back to the way they are, a lot of those people scattered. and they went back to, they were like short termers. They were like here for a little bit. Some of those people, of course, stayed and they discovered how cool this profession is. But other people went back to whatever they were doing or something else. And so, you know, none of us, nobody here, I don't care how long you've been involved in network marketing, nobody, and I've been in it for 30, and at the end of this year, be 36 years. Nobody's ever experienced what we experienced, where, you know, without using any of the words, right? Nobody experienced that before. None of us. People have been in for any amount of time and never experienced that. And so, you know, it's not like we have, you know, prior, you know, windows of time where we could say, oh, this is what happened when, because nobody ever experienced it before. So, you know, for, most highly experienced network marketers have come to the pretty simple conclusion that that was a false blip on the radar. Like if you were to look at charts, you know, here's the chart, and then here's 20 and 2021 and 22, and then it starts to fall off. And so the problem is, like, a lot of people who are less experienced, perhaps, and even the individuals that are experienced, they're like, oh my gosh, my check was up here. Let's say their check pre, you know, 2019 or into 2019 was here, and let's say it's 10 grand a month. It went up to 20 or 30 grand a month, and now it's back to 10, or maybe it's back to 8. And they're like, wait, you know, what's wrong? Something's wrong. And some of those people are in like full panic mode still. You know, here we are in 2024 and trying to figure out like what's wrong, what happened, and they just don't understand that experience that we had, that influx that we had, that increase that we had was a market situational increase based on the things that were happening in the world, and it wasn't a permanent increase. And the challenge also is that a lot of people are everybody's sensitive about their money. You know, it's like if you go from 10 grand a month to 30 grand a month, and then it's back down to 8, it's like, wait a second. You know, people are then like, oh, cool, I'm going to go buy a new house, or I'm going to do stuff. And now, you know, their checks adjusted. This has nothing to do with the companies themselves. Like if there's something wrong with the company or whatever, it was the market, what was happening in the market that caused that to happen. And I think, I mean, I'd love to hear from especially those of you guys that are experienced. You guys all, you know, who've been involved in network marketing for a period of time prior to you know, 2019 through the thing that we dealt with. You guys, I mean, I don't know anybody that didn't have an increase in sales. If you had a pre-existing organization, 500,000, 2,000, 5,000 people, I don't know one person that didn't see, unless the company was total crap. And that's the reason why it didn't really grow anyhow. But if you had a decent, good, great company during that time frame, you increased. And honestly, there were some companies that weren't even that great that increased during that time frame because people were seeking out alternative methods to make money from the safety of their home. So the challenge here is this, and it still exists, because I literally I had no intention of having this conversation. I mean, I was like, okay, this has probably been covered. But here we are in 2024, and people are still like, dude, like my check was here and it's here. Like, what am I doing wrong? It's not like you're, you know, in most cases, probably it's not like they're doing anything wrong. They're probably hopefully doing the same things that led them to success pre 2019 through 2020, 2021, 2022, and are continuing to do those things. It's not like the market, the things that we do in the market have changed so much between 2019 and today that it's a totally different game. I mean, for sure, we all moved into Zoom, and we moved to online meetings, and all the people that were doing PBRs and in-homes and whatever, all those people had to shift and, you know, pivot into to online stuff and, you know, doing Zooms. I mean, if you go back and look at the Zoom chart, the Zoom stock chart during, you know, from April of 2020 to the end of 2022, you'll see this stock market increase, which is kind of interesting because not only did the price of that, go do that, in fact, not right now in the middle of my live, but go and look at a chart that includes from like 2018 through 2024 of Zoom stock. Zoom stock was here, and in the peak of that thing that we were dealing with, it went up here, and then as we went out of that, it decreased. Okay, that's exactly what probably your check did. Okay. But the problem is, like, people are like, oh, what's wrong? What happened? Like, am I doing something wrong? And when people have like doubt, they pull back. And so there's a really delicate balance in this business where I think anything that you're selling, regardless of whether it's network marketing or not, like you got to believe in what the product that you're selling, the corporate leadership, field leadership. You got to be feeling good about all those things if you're going to be trudging and moving forward. And anytime there's a seed of doubt that's planted, people kind of take a step back and they, trip out a little bit. So again, the reason I'm doing this is a conversation that took place 2 days ago, and with pretty significant, leaders, people whose checks were in the, I'd say $10,000 to $40,000 a month range that saw these big increases. And now they're either down to where they were pre that experience or they're below that. And so if you haven't addressed this, you can address it individually with your key leaders who are tripping out, if you will, and like, what's wrong? What's going on? Am I doing something wrong or whatever? Or, you could do it, in a Zoom format. I actually got invited I'm doing a training, which this is going to be part of the subject matter for a company this week based on that experience. But, it's something not to just sweep under the rug, right? Like, oh, everything's like, they need to know why the check went up. Like, and a lot of those people don't. They don't know. They're still like wondering. They just don't know that, like, not everybody is like fully educated on why the market moves the way it does. So it's up to us as leaders, if you will, to be the ones that communicate, why those things occurred. So, I just think that if we're still talking about it in 2024, still impacting organizations, like this is the dude I was talking to. I mean, he's been with this company for over a dozen years. And, so it's not, and he's been in network marketing for probably 30, and he's got multiple people in his organization that are, dealing with this, like the thoughts around it, where they're doubting and they're wondering and they've taken steps back, and maybe it's and it's not like, I mean, the company's great, got great products, good solid comp plan, good, nothing has changed, good management, all those things are good. It's just that we're like in we're in a normal market. It's kind of almost the same thing. Like, there's some things that happen in the marketplace where something, like, it's the same thing as something new coming along, like some new product or new ingredient or new marketing tool. I can go way back to, like, I mean, when, for example, some of you guys have been around long enough to like when the Dead Doctors Don't Lie tape came out, when it was selling colloidal minerals, that particular tape, cassette tape, back then it was a cassette tape mail, everybody's mailing cassette tapes back then, helped this company sell hundreds of millions of dollars of colloidal mineral products. Back in the the functional health, early stages of the functional health beverage craze, like Tahitian Noni, Monavie, Zango. There was a period of time where, when those companies came out, there was not, those were the big three, where it was like, wine size bottle of this juice that either had mangosteen or acai or whatever had in it. And, you saw these companies because they were first to market, right? And so if there's like you'll see those things, but that'll happen with a company, not across the profession. So you'll see this huge thing for either it's a great idea, great marketing tool, first to market, but that's not industry wide. What I'm talking about here is like industry wide, globally, because everybody was affected by this. So if you haven't, if you're like, hey, what do I do with these people that their check is right now at, or maybe even slightly below where it was, back in 18, 19, and they're wondering why, maybe you can help them have a little more hope that, it's not like there's anything wrong. We're just back to a normal market again. And then once they understand and they comprehend why there was that blip, then it'll calm them enough to where they can go, okay, cool. I can just, be building and not have this thing in the back of my head where I'm stressing out and I'm worried. So anyhow, that's my thought for the day. The fact that the subject matter is still coming up in 2024 obviously necessitated a quick Zoom. Not Zoom, I guess I'm live streaming, but yeah. And then you can, how you want to handle that, you can handle it obviously however you want. You can do it individually if you want to do it on a weekly team Zoom or call or whatever you do. But only if you feel like, there's enough of that still going on. And based on my conversations with people, which is, I have a lot of chats with people all the time, there's still that going on. So if you got some worry in there, maybe you can settle the worry a little bit and help those people get back to focus. So have a beautiful day. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you later.